Hey guys and girls, just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Buzzsprout. Start a podcast today with free podcast hosting for Buzzsprout, easy podcasting software for hosting, promoting, and tracking your podcast. Buzzsprout is the best way to publish a podcast online for secure and reliable hosting to full iTunes support. Get started for free, no credit card required, cancel at any time.
Stats for losers.
That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is.
You play to win the game.
Welcome to the Airin It podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Jets Island, a episode mini deal that I put on the Airing It Out feed. Today, my guests are NYJ Mike. What's going on, brother? From BroadwayJets.com. The guy, what's up?
Yeah, dude, we have a podcast, the Broadway Jets Pod. I run it with NYJ Matt. You'll know from Twitter. Go check it out. iTunes, Spotify, whatever. Broadway Jets Pod. A lot of fun.
Nice. And then we have the honor to have Harrison Glaser from Take Flight Media. What's going on, buddy?
I'm good, brother. Glad to be here. Always a pleasure. Glad to be here talking about those Jets. I am also the CEO, founder of Take Flight Media. You guys can check out my site, takeflightmedia.org, or find me on Twitter.
Nice. All right. So we're not even going to play around. I've heard so many different versions of this thing. So was it the best thing to let him go because nobody wanted him, or what, man? I'll take it. We'll go to my man who's already feeling real good right now. Let's start with Mike. What are you thinking?
Yeah, man. It's such a weird situation because from a football perspective, it just kind of shows you that Joe Douglas is ready to hit the tank button. And I don't like to use that word. I don't use the word tank a lot. I didn't think the Jets would be in a position to do that. I think Joe Douglas must have looked at this roster in the summer, like when he was going to trade Jamal Adams, and said, hey, I'm not sure if we're going to compete so much next year. Didn't go after guys like Clowney, Logan Ryan. So once he got that haul from the Seahawks, I think he, must have lost faith in the season. So, because from a football perspective, you might as well just keep the guy. He's a healthy Hall of Fame running back. I'm not sure how many teams that are trying to evaluate their third-year, 23-year-old quarterback are going to release, a healthy Hall of Fame running back. So very frustrating. And then the one thing I'll say, too, is I think the outcry of love from Jets fans on Twitter just shows how angry they are at the organization, because I don't think Le'Veon Bell deserves so much of this as he has got. I think you should feel good about him. He tried hard. He, for the most part, said the right things. But at the end of the day, he got paid $27 million for 17 games, averaged 3.2 yards a carry, was horrible last year. He was seventh in the league in touches, and he was terrible. And then this year he's tweeting about the coach, whether he's right, and he is right because Adam Gase is a scumbag, but we don't need that. It's very obvious. He's the leader of the locker room. He's subtweeting the coach, and now you see other guys in the team starting to do it. And that's just how a locker room gets undermined. And whether he's right to be frustrated or not, it's too much. And the outpouring of him, go off, go win Super Bowls, whatever, man. Fuck him. It's a little too much.
What do you got, Harrison?
Mike, I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. And the reason
I think I'm in the minority.
Well, no, it's all good. Everyone feels differently. And I got to tell you, when I first heard it, like anybody, he's the best player on the team, hands down. I mean, he's the best player, best guy. It's shocking. It seems like, at the surface, another freaking SOJ move. They do something stupid. They make a bad decision. But it's so prototypical Joe Douglas. And I mean, I know we haven't seen a lot from him yet, but from what you see, the right things are there. The building is in motion. He knows what he's doing. Like, for example, with Le'Veon Bell. We look at it and we're like, again, oh, no, this is crazy. But when you look at it, he was going to be due $8 million if he got hurt. Let's say he got hurt again from now until the end of the season. And he was already hurt. He was on IR. If it was a serious injury, he would have been on the tank for more money. So, if you look at it, all that money that he was due, he was going to get paid anyway. I think it's about 15 and 4, so 19 million altogether. He was going to get that all, no matter what, whether he was cut now or whether he was cut at the end of the season. But I think the way Douglas looked at it is from two ways. One, like you said, it's not good right now. And Le'Veon is almost 30 years old. The guy has been great in the past, and I think Douglas appreciates good players and wants to give him a shot before, his career is done, before we use whatever's left of him. And also, like I said, if you look at the money, you save $8 million. God forbid he gets hurt. It actually is a winning scenario if you look at it, and it shows. You mentioned the word tank. I don't think it's necessarily that, because we've talked about it in the past. Douglas is not a big spender in free agency. He's not going to go out and spend a lot of money. He's going to build his team through the draft, and that's not quick. It's not an easy process.
But if that's him building, if this is him trying to build a winning team, it's a little bit demoralizing. Because it's too awful. It's too awful.
And that's what I'm trying to say. It's not on him. We look at this team. We look at how depleted it is. That's 100% Mike McCagnon. That's not on him. Like we said, he's not going to go out and spend big money like Mike McCagnon, $250 million in free agency. He's going to build through the draft, and he's only had one. A lot of guys are hurt this year. There's an unprecedented season. I think it's not as much as tanking. Like I said, would honestly think he probably saw this coming. Again, he knew he was coming into a depleted team that Matt just couldn't draft at all across the board on anything, really. And he knew the team was devoid. So I think it's more or less a tank, more of build. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be quick. But I do think he is the guy to make it happen.
It could be quick if you trade the first pick for the first pick.
Listen, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. For me, it just really stinks that now the Jets are finding new levels of how to make this organization look terrible. I mean, thank God the Giants are just as bad, so it kind of takes some of the relief, and the Falcons are just as bad. But it's like, I feel like the Jets are slipping into like Jacksonville territory, where the organization ain't going to do nothing. We're not really putting out the right guys. We're already hiring the wrong guys. I mean, it took a few GMs for them to figure it out. They thought that Adam Gase was going to be the super saver of I don't know what. They got apparently this rock star of a quarterback who they haven't figured out how to do anything with. I mean, even in garbage time, he doesn't look good, right? When you would think, like, I mean, I scrutinize the Kirk Cousins of the world and the Baker Mayfields of the world, and you could potentially argue that Sam is somewhere in the middle of that, and he's still, for whatever the reason is. I mean, I know everything is depleted, but it's just like, man, you didn't. I don't know. It's so crazy. I get it. That makes a lot of sense. When you're looking at it from a mathematical situation, yeah, get rid of Le'Veon. We're trying to plan for next season. I mean, it begs to argue what direction they look like they're going, only because nothing looks good on this team. The defense doesn't have any bright spots. The offense doesn't have any bright spots. You know what's my bright spot? Because you guys are always on Twitter. I stand with Sam. You know what I stand with? I stand with the kicker, Sam. Because that motherfucker doesn't miss. He's like the only bright spot of that team. Oh boy, does his job pretty good. But I don't know. Now, so what are we waiting next year for Mosley to come back, and we're gonna be hopefully headed to more of a defensive team? I'll start with Harrison on that.
Well, I mean, you mentioned a couple things before, like you mentioned teams like Jacksonville, Atlanta, the Giants. Believe it or not, it's crazy to think the Giants are still in there. They're 0-5, but they're 100% in the race, considering
stinks.
how bad their season is. It's crazy. And that's just how, the dice is rolled sometimes. You never know how it's going to pan out. But I feel like the Jets are a step below all of that, because all of those teams, if the situation is right, they can compete. We're not competing. It's not happening. You could give the Jets magically 10 wins right now, just for fun. Throw it at them. It's going to make a difference. They're not going to win. It's over because of Adam Gase. Again, I wrote a whole article on it. Check it out. Called him the Adam Gase effect. He has, everywhere he's been a head coach, his teams have been consistently at the bottom in everything. Passing yards, average, rushing yards. He's never had good running backs.
The one thing, Harrison, is that, like, I don't think Adam Gase is a good coach. He never had like a blowout bad season like this. Like usually he goes 7-9, or he made a
true.
one time.
Yes.
Even last year he went 7-9 with us.
Well, you could argue that those Miami teams were probably had better talent, because this team does not have a lot of good talent.
That is 100%. The talent matters, but yeah,
I'm thinking we went 7.
The coaching matters too.
Yeah, we won 7 games last year. It's the same team, but this is my point. It's too much too quick. So we're 6 weeks into the season. Sam Darnold has played 4 games. He's played 4 games with 6th, 7th, 8th string wide receivers, and that's literally true. The Jets' first 5 receivers were out. Rashad Perryman, Jamison Crowder, Denzel Mims, Vincent, and Jeff Smith were all out, and he's playing with Chris Hogan, Braxton Berrios, Josh Malone.
Hogan's now on IR.
And apparently NYJ Matt apparently is playing wide receiver on that that team too.
Dude, throw NYJ Matt out there. Throw him out there. But so he's playing with 6th, 7th, and 8th string wide receivers. He's playing without Le'Veon Bell. So he has Frank Gore and he has LaMichael Pirine. Chris Herndon looks like a shell of himself, and he's playing with what people say is the worst head coach in football. And he played 4 games, and he looked fine in 2 of them. He looked fine in the Broncos game. He looked fine in the 49ers game. If you want to go on, really scrutinize his tape incredibly much, you could say there's a couple guys he's missed, but no one will make a play for him. He could throw up a jump ball, like Josh Allen could throw up a jump ball to Stephon Diggs in the end zone, and it makes him look good. Sam Darnold throws it up to fucking Chris Hogan, who, like you guys said, is now dead. So
yeah,
it's super frustrating.
Yeah, I know. So look, this is what I want to ask. If we're doing all of this stuff, right? Because I want to add more, because you guys are really hot and bothered.
Yeah.
Are we gonna go 0-16? And if we go 0-16, no, right? That's impossible, right?
Wait. That's more of my point. Yeah. Go, Harry.
If I may, I think this is the most important thing to lay it all to rest. I know Mike's agreed with me on this before. No one's doubting that Trevor Lawrence is going to be amazing. The kid, I'm a huge Clemson fan. I love the kid. He's going to be great in the NFL. But just because a guy is going to be great doesn't mean you reach for a quarterback when you have a quarterback. The team itself is majorly depleted. I don't care. He's going to be great. I love Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to watch him wherever he is.
So that's what I'm saying. Are we going to be more? Are we going to be more pissed off when they are supposedly going to? So they're supposed to trade that pick back, and the Jets do what the Jets normally do, and draft the quarterback with that. Would you give up on the front office at that point if we get the number 1 overall pick and we don't trade back, which makes this seem the most amount of sense anybody would do? You'd have to be disappointed.
You cannot give up in the front office for taking a generational quarterback. But you have to understand that this is possibly the most important asset in the history of football.
Right.
This is like a coveted guy, blue chip, Peyton Manning prospect.
Right.
And we have a guy already, so we don't need it.
The question is he a blue chip Peyton Manning guy?
He is.
Yeah.
He literally is. The second he's on the radar.
100%. The best way to think about it. I love the ACC. I love the kid. I've watched every game he's ever played. Love him. If we drafted him, I would get behind him 100%. And I think he would be amazing. But regardless of it, the point is, I feel it's not the right decision. It would be the wrong decision to make because you need a team. And the only way to do that is to get picked. You have to get as many guys as possible. And again, we said it before, Lawrence has been built into this unbelievable prospect. Douglas is going to get a haul of something ridiculous, and he's going to use that to build a team.
And wait. And also, I like to point out, if you are older than 2 years old and you are listening to this, then you are old enough to remember that Sam Darnold was also supposed to be the first pick. Everyone's saying suck this Sam before the season. So we have that guy already, and you have literally the most valuable asset that has ever been in the NFL. So all right, when the Rams traded back with the Redskins, the second pick
for
in
RG3.
the 2012 NFL draft.
Yeah.
For RG3, the Redskins traded up. They traded 3 first-round picks, literally 3 first-round picks, and 2 seconds. That's 5 premium picks. This is arguably way more valuable asset than that. There are teams like the Jaguars who have multiple high picks. This is an insane opportunity. The Jets already have 4 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks in the next 2 drafts.
I'll tell you this.
If you add 5 or 6 more premium picks, you can rebuild an entire side of the football around the guy you already have. And for the people telling me that we're going to waste money on Sam Darnold, you're going to have to not pay Trevor Lawrence because he's going to be on his rookie deal. The players that you draft, let's say you draft a right tackle, then you don't have to sign a right tackle in free agency. It's the same thing because you're going to get multiple players at multiple high premium positions that you don't have to pay their contract.
I think the biggest problem now, in the NFL, it's important. It's the way you look at it. It's always, what have you done for me lately? What have you done now? And that's what it is. For example, Le'Veon Bell, I don't think they could have spun this rhetoric any better. We all saw it. When he was on the Jets, he's the worst guy. He doesn't have it anymore. He's washed up. He's averaging 700 yards a season. Second they let him go, everyone's like, oh, man, he's not a Jet anymore. Now he's the best running back since in Kansas City. He's going to be great. It's how you look at it. It's all how you spin it. And again, Lawrence isn't spun into something great, but like Mike said, so is Darnold. We have to forget this year. Go back the first 2 years. Sam Darnold, again, I've said it till I'm blue in the face. He had more passing yards than any Jets quarterback ever had in the first 2 seasons. After season 2, nobody was saying that he wasn't the guy.
Yes, no, wait, one more thing.
Oh.
To build on that. So my point before is that it's too early. It's been 4 games, and I listed all those weapons in quotation marks, and the horrifying coach, because to point out that Sam played not great the first 4 games this year, but it's so in the summer, there are a lot of people that were saying that Darnold is our savior. He's our guy. I was one of those people. After watching 4 games of Darnold with 6th, 7th, and 8th string wide receivers, and Mekhi Becton out, with the worst head coach ever, you're going to immediately turn around and say, we're giving up on this guy, and we should trade him and draft another quarterback, and then instead of in the pick a bunch of guys, it doesn't make sense to me. And then
the definition of insanity.
Right, and that's right, exactly. I love it. The article is good with that.
It is.
But the people that are saying we're going to go 0-16 it's too extreme of like a guarantee prediction. Like, there's been 2 0-16 teams in the history of football.
There's been 3 total. There's been 2 in the Monolith era.
Yeah, 2. So people are like, "Oh, we're going 0-16." Like, it's really hard to go 0-16.
Right, that's what I was asking. Okay, so I just want to make sure. I want to make sure because I want us to lock down the first pick, right? Like, if we're gonna go and give up the whole entire season, in the sense of the coach, and we'll go to this for a second. The coach comes out and says, if you see these guys in practice, this is not the way they practice, right? I think is ridiculous to say that because they're obviously not executing on the field. The next part of it is when he's asked by, the media, why wouldn't you explain to us why Le'Veon's no longer here? Or why didn't you effectively use him or any of these questions? I mean, I think he owes the fan base a couple of answers, and he's been pulling this Bill Belichick thing where he's just like, yeah, we're on to, I don't know, is it Miami this week? That's what we got? Fucking Fitzpatrick is going to rub it up our fucking ass. There's no way we win this game.
Light it up.
So, for me, you're saying that your guy already gave up the season. Are we even giving up more? Like, does he have some? What do you guys, if you guys are trying to think about it, why is Adam Gase still the head coach?
If I may, Dustin, just quick. Everyone keeps saying it. Again, everyone, you guys, Mike, everyone's saying it. They're tanking. They're tanking. I think it's important. We have to remember, no NFL player walks onto a field thinking, I'm going to lose this game. I'm not going to play my hardest. This isn't it. I think it's not tanking. No one's deliberately trying to lose. I think we just have to look at it as, like I said, the way Douglas is. It is what it is. We see a team that's depleted. It would be like a college team playing an NFL team. The college team isn't tanking. They just can't play at that level. We see it. It sucks.
Can I make an argument that with Joe Flacco at quarterback, they might be tanking? Because last week he looked atrocious. He left a lot of open receivers.
That's the point.
Yeah, so then they're tanking on purpose. I mean, at this point, why do you even start Sam anymore, by the way? He's got an injured shoulder. Why is this guy not just getting, like, all of the best treatment in the world? Like, if we're going to go in this direction, I don't know. Should we even bother having him out there?
A second ago with Flacco. Flacco not looking good. I feel like every Jet fan was like, wait till Flacco gets in there.
No,
he's going to line it up and show up bad standing.
I knew that, true.
He's going to show up bad standing.
Sure, but I'm saying, like, if you're trying to groom a quarterback, you should have some veteran presence on the bench that could actually win games. Because Joe Flacco can't win a game, and Joe Flacco, in my opinion, is not really going to pass that much knowledge over to fucking Sam Darnold. Joe Flacco.
I disagree with this take
really?
a lot.
Okay, tell me why. Do you think he's because he's got a chip?
I think Joe Flacco looked okay last week. I don't think he did anything particularly wrong. Jeff Smith dropped a long touchdown. Chris Herndon had a notable drop as well. He didn't turn the ball over. He did what the offense is supposed to do. Jeff Smith also dropped a pass on 3rd and 1. The guy's 18 for 32, 195 yards and a touchdown. As a backup quarterback, I think he can come in and win games. I think he was good last year. I don't think it's like a crazy take by you to say that, like, he's not like that good right now. Like, he's not
I just watched it and I just thought that he left a little bit on the field, and I feel like I'm agreeing with Harrison, where it's like he wasn't the savior. But I'm also saying in the same token, like, okay, if all of that stuff is relevant, then why don't we get a better guy in the building? Like, Joe Flacco wasn't gonna fucking punch his way out of a wet paper bag on the field this season. I don't think he's gonna be any better this week. I mean, all of a sudden, fucking Brian Flores and the Miami Dolphins look like they're trying to go to win a Super Bowl or something with a backup quarterback. So, go ahead, Mike.
No, but the thing is that if the Jets team right now is a mess. So the Jets team right now is not winning with Sam Darnold. So it's not like Joe Flacco is going to come in and win games.
Right.
The reason you get a guy like Joe Flacco is if the Jets are like a normal football team, like we were hoping they were going to be. You have like the nice defense like you did last year. They're playing good, solid football. They're like 2-2, and then Darnold gets hurt. You bring Flacco in a good situation where you can run the ball, run some play action, manage a game, like win a game as a backup because he can do that. But when you put him into this situation, just like where Darnold, if it's impossible for Darnold to succeed, and I think the world of Darnold, you're going to put Joe Flacco in. He's going to, play turnover-free football, manage the game. But when the rest of your team sucks, when you manage the game, you lose 30-10. If you have a good team around you, you can win that game 23-20.
That's
fair.
I
love the signing.
So
I love the Joe Flacco.
It
just doesn't make sense for this situation.
How bad is it
I'm
going to look?
take what you were saying, raise it actually a situation because everyone's saying we're tanking. If we were tanking, they wouldn't be going with Flacco. They wouldn't be going with the veterans. They'd be putting in James Morgan, the rookie. Let's see what the kid's got. They'd be putting in Mike White. That would be if they were saying, okay, screw it. We don't care anymore.
So the moment he hits the field, we know that that's true.
The thing with James Morgan is, I think Douglas likes James Morgan.
Oh, I do too. I'll tell you about it.
So the reason why you can't put that guy in the game, it was the same thing with Hackenberg. Like people put Hackenberg and just do it. Like you just can't. Like you have to be able to minimally run the offense, and I think those two guys just are too raw. Like that's why Hackenberg never got in the game. And James Morgan, like if you put him in and it stunts everyone else's growth. If you don't have a quarterback who can do normal NFL things, then you can't run reps with your receivers, the blocking. Right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like people are getting better. So it's important to have a guy like Flacco who can at least
right. That's true.
Keep the continuity.
He has been around the block.
Yeah,
he's definitely. I mean, it's better. I guess it's better than anything else. I mean, why not? Actually, I won't even touch that. So how bad is it gonna look when we go to Miami, bro? It's gonna look terrible. Are we gonna at least be? What do you think?
I mean, I don't think it's gonna look bad.
No?
I mean, Joe Flacco, you have to remember, he won a Super Bowl a while back. I think, if anything, the hardest thing is not letting him get injured.
Right, that's for sure. I would be super concerned.
That's my bigger fear, if anything. But he's not a bad quarterback. Same thing like you wrote about Ryan Fitzpatrick before. There's so many guys in the NFL that, they may not be the greatest guy, but you see with the Dolphins, Fitzpatrick's whole career, when he's surrounded by talent, he succeeds.
Right. Which is what makes me nervous about that Miami game. When you're talking about surrounded by talent, those two receivers right now look really good, and our DBs suck.
They do. Look at 2015 when he was with us. He had Brandon Marshall on one
side.
No,
I get you.
Eric
exactly.
on the other.
Right, and they're running pretty much.
That's better than what the Dolphins have now.
Right.
Oh, that's way better.
Exactly, and he's running with it.
From a tandem in history. Yeah, but the Dolphins, look, the thing with the Jets is now they're starting to get some of the guys back. So it's going to be more of a normal team. So at least you have Perryman back, who's a legit, actual outside wide receiver. You have Crowder. That's a shame that Bell is not going to be there to see if the offense could do anything. But you still have Herndon, and if the Jets can get any kind of running game going, the offensive line has been better. I've been, Michael Nanny, I love following his tweets. I've been posting some really nice clips of Connor McGovern. Greg Van Roten had a really good game. You're going to get back-to-back at some point. It's either going to be this week or next week. They should probably be, of course, cautious, but we'll see what they do. And when Becton is back, the offensive line should be good. You should be able to run the ball a little bit. You should be able to give the guys some time to throw. So I think when Sam comes back, I think the Jets are going to win a couple games. And it doesn't mean you can't get the first pick, because if you had 2-14, you should probably get the first pick. But I think it's when you say, what about Miami this week? I think the Dolphins, they're favored by a touchdown or maybe 10 points now. It's ridiculous.
Really?
I think we're going to play normal football. Joe Flacco's not going to turn it over. Maybe the defense stiffens up a bit. And I think it might be closer than people think, and the Jets are going to be a little more normal the next few weeks.
No, it's minus. It's
I would
minus
actually
8.
agree with Mike because I would actually 100% agree with Mike. If you look at it, look at all the past and all the games. People look at the Jet New England rivalry the most, but actually over time, the Jets and Miami have played the closest game.
Yeah, they play amazing games. They play amazing games. Yeah, for sure.
They usually come down to a touchdown or a field goal. So it's statistically, the Jets and Dolphins do play. And it's funny, usually when one's good, the other's good. When one sucks, the other tries to suck more. they always wind up matching each other and making a good game. So,
Now,
Yeah,
I think I'm just concerned. I'm concerned because I
Yeah.
don't think that the running back situation is going to be any good this week, and it's going to force Flacco to throw a lot in long down situations, and it might. I don't know. I'm really nervous about this game.
Wait. So the one thing with Frank Gore is now people, again, similar to
He's only
Flacco,
averaging like 2 carries apart. I mean, 2 yards per carry. He's not doing nothing
He's averaging
dynamic.
3.2 yards per carry, which is not good.
Right.
But the thing is, people look like are being very hindsighted here. Because if you look in the offseason, the Jets need a back. Like, I'm not expecting Jets to be 0-5 at this point in the offseason.
No, we talked about
we need
it.
a backup running back.
Yeah.
We need a backup running back because you have Bell. You have the rookie P-Run. You need a solid backup guy in case Bell goes down. Guy can get a lot of carries.
Exactly.
Move the pile. I thought Frank was a good signing. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say I thought that was a bad signing.
Yeah, I think for so many other things that he brings to the table, it was a good signing.
Yeah, and look, so like you said, it's not a great running back situation,
Right.
but I think it could be like serviceable.
I mean, again, if I may come back, I'm literally going to go back to what I was saying before with Joe Douglas thing. He's not going to flat out come out and say, this team is devoid of talent. It's going to take time to build. This year may not be a good year, but he knew it. Deep down, he knew it. That's why he gets rid of a guy like Bell. That's why he's just going to ride it out. We need a running back. It's about the draft. Guys like Travis Etienne, one of the best running backs in college. He knows what he's doing, and he's going to build the team through the draft. He did it this year. The offensive line was one of the worst positions the Jets have had. They hadn't taken an offensive lineman in a decade now. What?
Yeah, no, I feel you. I totally understand the overall long-term play. We're going to be hurting week to week on this thing.
It's going to be tough, but like I said, I feel like you saw it coming.
So listen to this, right? This is not looking good, guys. You tell me. I want to know what game you guys are feeling confident about. Okay, let's say we could beat the Dolphins. Are we beating the Bills at home? Right. What do you think? Okay.
No way.
What about you, Mike?
I hate to admit it because I was one of the first people. I was one of the first ones in that draft. I thought Josh Allen was a total buck. And I'm giving him total credit. He's a completely different quarterback right now than he was when he was drafted.
100%.
When he was drafted, the kid was great. I always knew he was agile, he was quick, but if you kept him in the pocket, he would make mistakes. He had bad throws. Not this year, man. This year, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I
he
don't know
looks like
either.
he found it.
Yeah, he looks for
like
real.
He found it.
Yeah.
That team is hot.
Okay.
I think they could be one of the better teams.
For sure, they're a problem in the AFC. 100%, I agree with that take. Mike,
Well, their defense has to be their defense has to be better than it was on Tuesday.
Right.
Really bad.
Yes. But they also were on the road and they played back to back -back road games. Right? They won in. What's up?
I get it, but
I'm just saying we might have a chance. Go ahead, tell me.
I think right now it's hard to imagine, but it's even a little similar to last year. I think once Sam comes back, I cannot, and I'm so excited because it's going to be something worth watching. When he has Mims and Brashad Perryman and Crowder and Herndon and all the guys and Mekhi Becton and Fant are playing, so we have 2 good tackles. I'm very excited to see Sam. I think the offense is going to look much better. It can't be this bad all season, because we never got to see it. Like I want to see what our offense was supposed to look like. Even if Adam Gase sucks, it's got to be a little bit better than this. Because we saw this, similar team last year. Like, we should be able to play like normal football. So I want to just play like I'm not advocating even winning games, whatever. I want to play normal, like NFL football, like a good game. And I think we're going to play some close games down the stretch. And I think we're going to win some because it's the NFL. These are professional. Like, well, we have some okay players when everyone's healthy. And, you're going to win a couple games like that. It's going to happen.
All right. So we're a little bit against the clock here real quick. I wanted to ask you, Harrison, was it a bad play not to sign Anderson, especially because we've had so many problems at wide receiver? I mean, the guy right now apparently looks like he's balling in Carolina.
He does, 100%. But I feel like it's the same thing you were saying before. People saying, what about this? What about that? We look at, guys like Denzel Mims. He hasn't played yet. People are like, oh, we could have had this guy. Everyone's suffering from Monday morning quarterback syndrome. That's what they all have right now.
Within 6 weeks, right?
No, but not even just that. Robbie Anderson, I love the kid. I've always been a champion for him. But let's not forget, the majority of Jet fans last offseason said that this kid was just a deep threat, and he did not deserve the money that he wanted.
For sure. The
they
fan base
flat
didn't
out,
agree.
The majority of people, whether they want to, again, Monday morning quarterback syndrome, change their tune now and say that's not the case, but they were saying that then. So you can't play that game. It's like with Mims. He hasn't seen the field yet, but that kid's going to be a straight-out baller. So people are like, oh, we could have had Chase Claypool. But no, at that pick, Mims was the right move. You may not see it yet, but you will see it.
I can't wait. All right, so look, Mike, hold on. And then you bring it right back. So is the Charger game the game we win?
Dude, I'm not,
because I feel like that's a winnable game. That's a winnable game, bro.
I'm not sitting here saying the Jets are gonna go out and win a bunch of games. I'm not sure. I just think you're gonna see like a more normal team. In the NFL, if you play like normal football, don't turn football over, like anyone can win like, a game or two or three.
Yeah, of course.
The Jets were 0-4 last year. It looked horrifying. Of course, you get Darnold back, but it's a similar situation. You get Darnold back, you get the rest of the guys back now. We'll see what happens. We have a much tougher schedule this year too.
I know it's a banana schedule because I didn't even want to mention the elephant in the room. We got to play the Chiefs too. Like this schedule is ridiculous, bro. We got to play the Raiders, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Dolphins twice in that same stretch, the Hawks and LA Rams. Like, wow, that's a tough bunch of 8 games. We're gonna be crying a lot on Sundays. I feel, bro. I don't know. I'm not saying that we're going to go 0-16, but this is a tall task for this team to actually have to, I don't know, climb over. And I felt like if they, I don't know, maybe we just, as Jets fans, there was a little bit more optimism because Sam was there. Because if they were going to blow this thing up, they should have blew it up last year.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned the schedule just now. I mean, it's a tough schedule. I mean, the odds of having the first pick are high because they have such a tough schedule. We talked about at the beginning of the year, completely unwarranted. If you were to look at their schedule at the beginning of the year, you would have thought this was a 10, 11 win team from the season before. So that's just ridiculous on its own. But I will say, you've seen it in the past, man. You know it's true. How many times in the past have we wanted a guy or wanted a certain pick, and the Jets win just enough games to screw us out of that situation? It just feels like that's been my whole childhood.
Me too,
so I just
bro.
feel like anyone who wants that first pick, we're not going to get it.
Right.
Dude, I remember.
That's actually a really good point. And then you jump in, Mike, that we actually have to temper what we're thinking because we're all going to fucking be swearing and all that shit. Like we're going to get the first pick, but that shit, the likelihood of that happening is probably low. What do you got, Mike?
I was, I remember, based off what Harrison was saying, whenever Mariota came out, I think was it 2014 or 2016?
Somewhere around there, let's say.
I think it was 2014. It must have been.
And everybody was jumping on that bandwagon to get him.
I don't know. Whatever year
I didn't
it was,
believe.
The Jets were playing the Titans, like the Mariota Bowl. I wanted Mariota. I thought he was good. And DeJuan Landry, made a game-saving tackle against Delaney Walker. I'll never forget that. And I was like, oh. There's that game, the Jets won that.
So before we leave, I wanted to get you guys really quickly, 2 minutes each. Is this going to teach, and I'm just saying only because it looks, from a college kid, this looks tough. Are kids going to stay longer or are going to use more of the luck thing where they don't have to go to a bad team? Like, is there a potential where Lawrence might stay? I mean, he said he's coming out, so he already committed to that. But I'm saying to the future. Are the players going to stay in college like they have in the past just to keep themselves blocked from going to, dysfunctional organizations, I would say?
Well, I would say, unfortunately, you have to look at, preset standards of what other players have done. And they've laid that out before. Like, for example, we use both the Manning brothers. Peyton Manning, remember, everyone loved the fact that the Jets got Keyshawn Johnson in 98. I didn't. Because all I could remember was the year before the Jets were supposed to have the first pick and get Peyton Manning, but he went back for his senior year because he didn't want to play for the Jets. So I feel like that is hard to gauge because if a player has an extra year, okay, they can go back to college, finish their degree. If it's their 5th year, they can't. But I feel like look at Eli in that situation. He flat out said, I'm not going to play for the Chargers. That's not happening. It was a whole debacle and thing at the time, but nobody talked about it after a little while. He was the Giants quarterback, and he'll always be remembered as the Giants quarterback. So I think that precedent has been set that that you can make big noise, you can complain and do whatever you want as long as you become the guy.
Mike?
I think the notion that that Trevor Lawrence would not come to New York, try to save the franchise, be the New York Jets quarterback to avoid them and go back to school is ridiculous. It doesn't make sense to me. The Jets didn't do a good job with Sam. I'm sure Joe Douglas has a plan, and I hope it doesn't include Trevor Lawrence. But if it does, I'm sure Lawrence will get on board. There'll be a new head coach. There'll be fresh system. That's a lot of assets. So no, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to go out of his way to go back to college to avoid the Jets.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on this, for me, early Friday. For you guys, it's probably going to start getting tossed up. I don't know what you guys get into.
Oh, it starts already, brother.
Yeah. I know. I'm still dealing with light on my side of the planet. But thank you so much, Mike, for coming on the show. Appreciate all your tweets as always, bro. Keep up the good work. Tell Matt where he's at. Missing the guy. Got to get him on soon.
Yeah, he's got to come on. I'll try to do some convincing.
I know.
I appreciate you having me, though. Yeah,
for sure. Tell him not to get so highbrow on us. We know he's famous, And Harrison, thanks also as well for joining the show again, for coming back on Jets Island and talking all this shit. What's up?
Yeah, buddy. Always happy to be here. Always happy to talk Jets, talk shop. It's a lot of fun. Really enjoy it. And yeah, good stuff.
Nice. And so thank you guys for listening. Let's see if I can get it right. It's takeflightmedia.org for my man Harrison, and it is BroadwayJets.com for Mike and Matt's things. So thank you guys, everybody, for listening, and try to stay safe out there.
Thank you.